Hello everyone, I'll be talking about electroencephalography today. So what exactly is an EEG? A EEG is a continuous recording of the electrical activity of the brain, and these recorded waveforms reflect the cortical electrical activity, which is basically caused due to the changes in the polarity in the axons as shown in this diagram. The indications for an EEG are epilepsy, syncope, and changes in the mental status. This is a picture of the electrodes, and these electrodes are placed on the scalp as shown in this diagram. The system by which the electrodes are placed on the head is called the International 1020 system, and based on this, there are 5 measurements. So we'll go over each of these measurements one by one. And this is the first measurement. It is usually taken from the nasion over here and to the occipital protuberance in the back of the head. And then this line is divided into 10, 20 increments as shown in this diagram. And then the X's are marked on the scalp. And then the second measurement is taken from one periauricular point and to the other periauricular point. And then again the 1020 measurements are 1020 increments are marked, and the X's are marked on the scalp. The third measurement is taken around the circumference of the head. Here we only use the 10% increments. The fourth measurement is taken around along the parasagittal lines as shown here, and for this we only use 25% increments. And then finally, transverse lines or the transverse measurements are taken, and then we mark the X's on the place where these two lines intercross. So this is how the final pattern of the electrode placement looks. And then the electrodes are placed, and each of these electrodes have a letter and a number, and the letter would indicate L, F for frontal, P for parietal, and C for central, and the number indicates the number that can be either odd number or a even number. The odd numbers are usually located on the left side of the head, and the even numbers are located on the right side of the head. And the EEG uses a differential amplifier method. And here, two inputs are taken in, and the output is displayed as a difference of the two inputs. So, for an example, you can see here there are two wave patterns here, and you can see there's only tiny change in the second input, which is shown in red. And as you can see here, the two outputs are exactly almost the same, but you can only see the difference between the two outputs. So, for example, you can see two diagrams here, and in the second diagram, there are minor changes. And when you input these two diagrams into the amplifier, you will only get the differences between the two diagrams as an outcome. There are 5 types of EEG waves: delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. And the delta waves are seen in deep sleep. Theta waves are seen in drowsiness or in light sleep. And alpha waves are seen when the patient is relaxed or when the patient's eyes are closed. Beta waves are seen when the patient is actively thinking and alert. Gamma waves are seen when the patient is problem solving or when the patient is heavily concentrated on a certain task. So this is a diagram of all the waves. As you can see, when you go down, the frequency decreases. So gamma waves have the highest frequency, and the delta waves have the smallest frequency. When talking about the abnormal activity seen in an EEG, it can be divided into epileptic and non-epileptic, or focal and diffuse. This is a diagram, or this is an EEG strip of a focal epilepsy. As you can see here, all the wave patterns are normal, and here, as shown in red, there's a slight change or distortion of the wave pattern. So this is a focal epilepsy, which is a seizure occurring only in one region of the brain. And in the next slide, you can see that the wave patterns have distorted a lot, and all the waves have been distorted. This is called a diffuse epilepsy, and this occurs in the entire brain. That's why all waves have been distorted. And finally, I would like to talk about the advantages and limitations of EEG. The advantages are the EEG is a very cheap procedure, relatively cheap procedure when compared to MRI and CT scans, and it can measure the brain activity in the on the order of milliseconds. The limitations include that it has poor spatial precision, which means it's difficult to exactly pinpoint where the pathology is located, and also it's difficult to record voltages in the deeper parts of the cortex. That's it about EEGs. Thank you.